We'll call the meeting of the Algood City Council to order, and we'll start with a roll call.
Roll call, Mayor Fouch.
Present.
Vice Mayor Norris.
Present.
Councilwoman Hawkins.
Present.
Councilman Adams.
Here.
Councilman Dyer.
Present.
And we'll ask Chief Elders to lead us in our invocation, Pledge of Allegiance.
Lord, as we gather here today, we ask for your continued blessing. We ask you to watch over and guide this governing body in the important decisions they will be making tonight and the future. We ask you to watch over our employees, our citizens, and this city. We ask all this in your holy name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Next item is fix Gary's thing I just broke, I'm afraid. Still working? Still working. Consider agenda in minutes. Consider approval of the agenda as presented.
Make a motion. Second.
There's a motion and a second to consider the agenda as approved. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Consider approval of minutes of the council meeting on June 12th, 2012.
Make a motion. Second.
Motion's been made and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries. Consider approval of minutes of the special call meeting held on June 26, 2012.
Make a motion. Second.
A motion and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Under old business, we've got a couple of zoning ordinances, so we'll start out with a motion to suspend the reading of all resolutions and ordinances presented during this council meeting. Barring the passing of this, as we often do, we'll have to read the entire ordinances for the zoning. So I will move that we approve suspending reading of the ordinances and resolutions in their entirety. I'll need a second.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And for record, these ordinances, we've got copies. I've got a copy up here if anyone wants to see one. They're welcome to them. They'll be at City Hall. So consider approval of ordinance 564-12 on second and final reading to change the zoning ordinance classification for 2.52 acres located East Main Street and Swift Street, Markwater, from C8 General Commercial District to R1 Low Density Residential to CB Central Business District. And this is an item we took up at last council meeting, was recommended by planning. And where'd Jonathan go? Jonathan go? Want to speak to this?
Someone? Yes, sir. Got it. All right. This is the Charles Vaughn request that was recommended by the Planning Commission. They were, they're subdividing the property, an existing lot, and and the remaining acreage would be non-conforming in a district. So the recommendation was to rezone it to CB that would allow for that size lot. It was recommended by the Planning Commission and passed on first reading.
And this being the second reading of this, we'll required to have a public hearing. Is there anyone, members of the audience, like to speak to this? Okay, public hearing is closed. And I'll consider the motion.
I'll make a motion. Second.
Motion to approve and second for ordinance 564-12 on final reading. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? The motion carries. Consider approval of ordinance 565-12 on second and final reading to change the zoning ordinance classification for approximately 6.342 acres on Cooper Road from R3 High Density Residential District to our new RD Single Family and Duplex Residential District. Jonathan?
Yes, this is the property that Mr. Davidson's developing currently off Cooper Road. We amended the zoning ordinance to take into consideration higher density development, but exclude, it prohibits any apartments from being constructed. And on final approval of that zoning ordinance amendment, Mr. Davidson came back and asked to rezone it again from R3 to the RD district, where he was allowed to get 4 more lots in the development. This was recommended by the Planning Commission and approved on first reading by the City Council last month.
Okay, and this also being second reading of an ordinance required public hearing. Any members of the audience like to speak? No comments. We'll close the public hearing. Any members of council, any discussion? We'll consider a motion.
I'll make that motion. Second.
Motion and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Consider ordinance 566-12 on second and final reading, changing the zoning ordinance classification of 1.097 acres on Dry Valley and Stover Road from R1 low-density residential district to R3 high-density residential district. And Jonathan?
This is the property that's being developed by Bobby Phillips Jr. It's located across the street from the property that they're currently constructing those homes on. I mean, what they were asking for is just a smaller lot size requirement for single-family residences. It was recommended by the Planning Commission to rezone it to R3, stipulating that no apartments could be built there. That was recommended by the Planning Commission and approved on first reading last month.
Okay, and again, second reading, require public hearing. Any members of the audience?
No plat has been presented for that property yet, but they do have a plat that they presented when they requested rezoning, and it was just for 5 single-family residential lots. So, and that will all be taken care of at a future Planning Commission meeting.
Okay, the public hearing is closed, and we'll consider a motion.
Make a motion.
And a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. Motion carries. Agenda item 5 here, consider approval of ordinance 567-12 on second and final reading to adopt fiscal year 2012-2013 budget appropriations and setting the tax rate at the current rate of .5123 cents per $100 assessed value. And this being the second and final reading of an ordinance, we'll open for a public hearing. Any members of the audience? We'll close the public hearing. We'll consider a motion.
I'll make a motion.
And a second.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. New business, item 1, consider approval of resolution 272-12, City of Algood addressing its interest in a lane shown on the plat of the N.C. Cooper subdivision. And I think this is a familiar item with the council. Someone want to address?
Yes, Mayor.
Please. This was tabled from last month and put on this agenda, so.
Mr. Mayor and Councilman, my name is Danny Rader, and I am a lawyer, and I represent Sam Cooper and his wife Kathy Cooper, and I appreciate you tabling this from last month and bringing this back up this month. I was late to your last month's council meeting because I was at another court matter, and I apologize for being late, and I appreciate you tabling this so that I have an opportunity to address the council before you act. The first thing I want to make clear is my clients did not sue the City of Algood. They're defendants in this case also, and we appreciate and understand that the City of Algood does not want to be involved in a lawsuit concerning this property over off Cooper Road. And we know that you all don't want to be in a lawsuit any more than my clients want to be in a lawsuit over this property. And for whatever it's worth, we apologize that you all have been brought into something that you didn't ask to be brought into. We didn't want to be in it either. The reason that I wanted to address you tonight is to ask you to not take sides in this lawsuit. And what your action would be by passing the resolution and disclaiming any interest that you have in the land, we feel would be taking the side of this Mr. Charles Harris, who's filed this lawsuit against Mr. Cooper and Mrs. Cooper, who own this land here in the City of Algood. And we'd ask you not to do that. And here's why we think, here's what we would ask you to do instead. We think that this lawsuit against the city of Algood should be dismissed. We think the only claim against the city of Algood is a claim for what's called common law adverse possession. Adverse possession, you all are probably familiar, many of you I'm sure are, is a doctrine whereby somebody can take land from you by using it for a period of time. In this case, they've alleged 20 years. That doctrine, it's my position, does not apply against a city or a governmental entity. In other words, these people can't claim adverse possession against the city of Algood. And since that's the only claim in their lawsuit, their claim against the city of Algood, in my belief, and I think the judge will agree with us, is without merit. So what I'd ask you to do, instead of passing the resolution tonight, would be to ask your city attorney to file a motion to dismiss this claim against the city of Algood and see if the judge will dismiss this claim against the city. That way, you're not taking the side of Mr. Harris against Mr. Cooper, or taking the side of Mr. Cooper against Mr. Harris. If the city elects not to do that, and the city elects to move forward with the resolution and try to abandon the property, then it will be our position that the city is taking the side of Mr. Harris against Mr. Cooper. And that places Mr. Cooper in a terribly unfortunate position, because then he has to take a position adverse to the city of Algood, which he definitely does not want to do. Mr. Cooper does not want to claim that the city of Algood is taking the side against him, because that puts Mr. Cooper in the unfortunate spot of asserting that the city didn't follow a surplus procedure and treat this property as a surplus property and give him an opportunity to purchase it, and whether the city of Algood has a proper ordinance for that or not. And I don't want to get into the long and the short of it, but we absolutely don't want to take any position adverse to the city of Algood at all under any circumstance. We're defendants in this case just like you all are. We want this case over with just as fast as you all do. Mr. Cooper and Mrs. Cooper don't want to spend any more money than you all do. And so what we'd ask you to do is, instead of passing a resolution relating to an interest in property tonight, we'd ask you to ask your city attorney to please file a motion to dismiss this case on the city of Algood based on the doctrine that the city cannot be sued for adverse possession, which is the only claim that Mr. Harris has brought against the city. There's sovereign immunity. I think that there is no claim for that type of case, and we think that the judge will dismiss the case immediately against the city of Algood, and it'll get you out of this without having to take one side against the other. And so that's what I'm here to ask you to do on behalf of my clients, Mr. and Mrs. Cooper, and I'll be glad to answer any questions that you all have.
So what's your position on who owns this strip of land?
It's my position that it's the city of Algood by virtue of a plat that was issued. Just like the plat refers to Cooper Street, a street that was called North Street, but I think is now called Adams Street, another street called Putnam Street, and I don't know if they still got that name or not, but by platting those streets and this lane, when they developed the Mr. and Mrs. N.C. Cooper subdivision back in 1956, it's our position that those properties were dedicated to the city of Algood for the city of Algood's future use as it suits them. But we don't think that the city of Algood should disclaim any interest in that land at this point, now some 60 years, 56 years later, without going through a proper surplus procedure. So we say it's the city of Algood's, but the city of Algood can't lose it by virtue of adverse possession, which is the claim against the city. So this lawyer who has filed this claim against the city on behalf of his client, Mr. Harris, we think has filed a claim that can't be brought against the city of Algood. Just like you have governmental immunity for a number of different things, this is one of those things, in my opinion. And I think the judge will agree with us. So we'd ask you to just move to dismiss the case, have it be over with without any meaningful expense, and get it behind you. And don't place us in a position where we have to be adverse to you.
Well, I would move we table this for yet another month and study further.
I'll second that.
All in favor of tabling this? Say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So if you will please have that added to next month's agenda. Hopefully we'll take an action, or we just keep gathering more information. So want to make the right steps, and we don't want to take sides, and that's just clear. And I think we've tried from the beginning to say complicated issues. So,
Mr. Mayor, we really appreciate you listening to us. Thank you.
thank you.
Mr. Reed, are you in a hurry to leave?
No, sir.
Okay, hang on.
I've been trying to catch him by telephone. We've played phone tag for several days. So.
Yeah, please you two get together before the next meeting, because that was my expectation that happened in the last 30 days, and it hasn't happened. So please, you two get together and let's kind of figure out where we need to be on the merits of, and your attorney is welcome to contact him as well, so that we're all doing this fairly. Consider approval to award bid to Huffman Tank out of Albany, Kentucky in the amount of $52,199 to repaint the Buck Mountain Water Storage Tower. I guess, Mr. Jones, you'd like to speak to that?
Yeah, we took out bids, Haley Groups took out bids, and we've got 4 bids on it, and the Hoffman truck was the lowest bid. And this is to take down the tank completely, sandblast inside and out, and paint both sides.
Maintenance requirement, state inspection?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, yeah, we're way behind on that.
I'll consider a
Make a
motion.
motion.
Second. Any discussion on that? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? The motion carries. Ready for the city administrator's report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I really don't have a whole lot to report tonight to the council. We're starting a new fiscal year. We're just getting started, and we've passed our budget tonight. I appreciate the council's support. We're going to continue to work diligently and professionally, as we always try to do, to make this year another successful year. I'm happy to report that all departments have come under budget, and I appreciate the hard work of each department head and the dedication and diligence that they showed me, and we will continue to do that in the future. As we all see, the City Hall is going along well. It's moving along. They've not been able to work the last couple of days due to the fact of rain and the pouring the concrete. But Mr. Sherfy has kept you all updated, and we're having on-site construction meetings now every 2 weeks. I think everything is going on schedule with no problems, knock on wood, so far with the City Hall. The 111 Quinton Lake Road intersection red light is up and running, and has been activated now for about 2 weeks. My department has not worked any accidents out there that I'm aware of, and I don't think the Highway Patrol has had any accidents since the red light has been activated, and it has made a significant difference and improvement, and we're hoping that we will be able to cut down on the accidents out there, but that job is completed. I will be asking respectively for you all to call a special call meeting July the 24th at 6. This will be posted, and the press is here tonight, so we will make that official. From y'all's indication at the work session tonight, you've pretty well authorized me to call that meeting. We'll be calling that meeting primarily to award a bid to someone to start on the Williams Circle Phase 1 project, a drainage issue that this council has now been addressing and working on for the last 2 years. Hopefully y'all will be able to award a bid, and we'll get started on that in early or late August. And I have been in touch with the engineers, and everything is on track. Right before the meeting, Mr. Haley called me just shortly before this meeting started, and we are on track, and everything's going well on that. That's about all I have as far as any happenings going on. We're 10 days in to our new year, and you all have approved the budget. And again, I appreciate that, and we'll continue, again, as I said, to try to make this city proud and do the best that we possibly can do and save as much money as we can for the taxpayers. On a short note, our barbecue cook-off a couple of weeks ago went well. We didn't have quite a few people as we hoped to, but I think that day it was about 106, and that played a significant impact on people that come out. But I do believe the people that were here enjoyed themselves, and I think everything went well, and I want to thank everyone involved that made that happen. The July 4th celebration went well. We didn't have any instances, any traffic accidents or any major instances that need to be reported. That went very well, and we're just looking to start this year good, and I think it'll happen. In the department heads tonight, Mr. Jones, do you have anything you need to address to the council? Fire Chief Bilbrey?
No, sir.
Mr. Lane, do you have any issues? No, Mr. Ward, is there anything that you need to bring forth to council? No, sir. Ms. Larson is on vacation. Marlon, do you have anything from administrative that Ms. Vaughn wanted you to pass on to the council?
No, but I'd just like to say that I think everyone in City Hall is doing an excellent job in the utility office. I know that we've got our past due taxes, the delinquent taxes are reconciling to what our county office says. I know we have plenty of time to call our customers and let them know if they've got a past due bill, and we really try hard to give them, the citizens, a good customer service. From the accounting and city recorder's position, budget's passed, that's good. We're ready to move forward in the new fiscal year, and I think things have been running smoother and smoothly for the last year, so I'm ready to call that auditor and tell him to come on. We're ready for him. So in a couple of weeks, I expect that we'll get the audit started and have a timely outcome of that.
Thank you, Ms. Martin.
You're welcome.
Mayor Fouch, that concludes my report, unless you or the council or anyone has any questions.
No questions. I would like to say again, thanks to Becky Raines and her committee, the police, fire, public works, everybody that volunteered to put the barbecue and the cruise in together. And thanks for you folks for volunteering the time and helping with the 4th of July celebration. Good events like that make community, and it was hot, and it will be better next time. And one of our local firefighters took first place in the amateur cook-off, so and be proud of him for that. He's got a big old beautiful trophy. Wasn't a lot of cookers, but he's got a nice trophy and did a good job, so he enjoyed it. About the 2011-2012 budget, numbers have come in, but we're not posted to totally clear out the budget for the year. They'll have to wait till the auditor comes in, but happy to report that by my calculations, we're around $400,000 revenues in excess of expenses. So hats off to the administration and for managing their money and for conservatively estimating revenues, liberally estimating expenses, and not spending everything you budgeted for. So hats off to those folks. Time for hearing of the citizens or delegations. Anybody would like to speak? Any of the council members like to address? There being no further business, I move adjournment.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We stand adjourned.